I was muted. I'm sorry.
Yes.
My immediate reaction when you walked in, Mad, was, yeah, you got mauled. Not in the second game. But, yeah.
No, I got mauled the second game too.
Yeah, but not as fast.
The early flip basically lost me the game twice. I couldn't do anything either game.
I drew really well.
Yeah. I mean, I got destroyed by Byron's Renea, so I hear you. I feel this pain. I understand.
I think the games are very different. I think the games against you were I played well, and the games against Mad where I drew really well.
Well, Mad does have notoriously bad luck. He is known as the Salt King for a reason.
I think Bison's terrible.
I know, right?
I don't know what everyone's talking about, that he's a super character. I think he's...
I keep saying this. Like, I keep saying...
Bison's probably good if your opponent doesn't realize that block has a boost on it, is my current theory.
The thing is, it's not even, like, he doesn't have, like, he has filtering, but everything takes so long to do anything of substance. And then you flip to get a decent filtering engine, and at that point you're at the bottom of your deck.
I feel like
you get red, and you lose everything.
I feel like flipping is absolutely a trap. I feel like his actual in-game is in the boost that says +1 power per card in your gauge. And he does that...
Oh, you think he just wants to, like, Psycho Power Head Stomp?
Right. Or EX anything, because, like, his Ultras, which everyone thinks is where his power is at, they seem so vulnerable to me, and, like, so parryable, and, like, so incredibly expensive.
Yeah, it's like... I think he's just vulnerable to parry and reading, and most people don't play parry and reading very well, so...
Yeah, so I think, like... I think that the... What is it called? Psycho Power? The +5 power boost?
Yeah.
Like, pair that with a non-Ultra, of course, because playing with an Ultra is a trap. And then you actually get stats, and now you can do things. Like...
I mean, he's got meaty cards. Like, he's got 3 5-power specials. Like...
Yeah, but they're bad.
And with crits they become... Sliding Kick is not
usually
bad.
Pretty good.
So
Head Stomp is not bad.
Head Stomp is very good. Head Stomp is very good.
They're predictable.
Yes, Head Stomp is very good, and usually it doesn't matter because you're trading with a sweep, and that's fine. That's one fewer sweep. They were going to play sweep eventually. But then, like... And then Somersault Skull Diver is, like, I think how he actually closes games. Because +4 or 5 power on Ignore Armor with 6 guard. So that's an 9 or 10 power Ignore Armor attack that has before close 1 or 2 at speed 4. Like, that to me feels like a game-ending thing. You just throw that a few times. But I think his Ultras are a blatant trap, and that you should always boost the one that adds his discard to his gauge and never play the other one. Like, let the opponent parry it because he doesn't need it.
I don't strictly agree with always that, but I do agree with the opponent will just parry it whenever it would be good.
Right.
I mean, the thing is, if he's standing at range 3, like, first of all, it's not like you can't do quick backstep into Nightmare Booster and just kind of stare at them and say, take some damage.
Yeah.
Like, that does exist.
Yeah, you can totally do that. It's a boost from your hands, which is on a card he doesn't really care about, I think.
Sliding Kick is good. Like,
Sliding Kick, that's the speed 5, right?
It's speed 5 with 3 guard, and crit is 7 power.
Wait, what? I thought crit was 5 power.
Thought it was 5 base, and then you crit it for 2 more.
I want to know.
Which
maybe
card
I'm
is
wrong.
this?
Maybe I'm hallucinating. It's only like 4. Or is this crit for the push?
Oh, it's crit for 6. Crit for 6. So
Okay,
we're
so
both
whatever
wrong.
one is wrong.
I was gonna say crit for 7 seemed a little busted to me too when I said it.
Yeah. Okay, so we're both
this
wrong.
is 5 or 4 now, except without like any drawbacks.
But yeah, so like you can totally play this from hand, and then you spend 4 gauge on this, and you deal maybe 6 damage, or maybe 0 if they block, or maybe 4 if they focus. Because if he's striking from range 3, like the mix-up is crit spike, because everything else he has loses to block or focus, as far as I can tell, from range 2 to 3. Like, but...
Yeah, I think he doesn't deal well with characters that... I don't want to say good characters, because I'm not sure that's correct, but characters that do the kind of things I want to do in card games.
Right, so control. Like, he
Not
doesn't...
even just control, like... I'm not sure he deals well with, like, Way of the Warrior, even, which isn't even something. But like,
His way of dealing with Way of the Warrior is teleport out and empty strike. Like he.
I mean, it better be at range more than 6. But yeah, I think.
But
I see where.
yeah, I don't know. I think he's kind of bad.
I
think
have
he has
said
a
this.
problem. I think he has a problem with Renea also, where like his boosts are really good. So letting me play his boosts is a bad idea.
I mean, in the second game, I felt like I needed single-minded to have a chance, but I think you transformed 2 out of 3 of your boosts, or 2 out of 3 of your like you EX'd 2 out of 3 of your
Yes,
transforms.
I
so
EX 2 of them and I hit Strafe Fire, and then like game's over. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I mean it was more like my one hope at that point was to make a couple of not unreasonable to do single-minded hard reads, because a lot of your fancy stuff was gone, but then both Dragon's Tails were card 28 and 29 in my deck.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that sense. But like,
So-
I think the Bison Renea matchup's just really bad in general, because like, you give me 2 extra parry readings for one thing. Like, I just get 4 parry readings instead of 2, right? Like chances to get parry reading. You know what I mean?
I mean, intelligence doesn't equate directly into a parry because it actually requires a strike if you succeed.
No, but if I'm playing parry reading,
Oh, then never
already
mind. You already with it.
how to play poker card.
Yeah, never mind. Yeah, but yeah.
I
so,
still
like,
kind of dislike that she can do that, but
Well,
Well-
like, what are you going to, like, even if you say it has to be a card that's like that belongs to your opponent's character, okay, I parry Equus.
yeah.
it's not I'm not objecting to the parry Exodia thing. It's just I remember in season 2 there
You
were,
object to the fact that everybody else lost parry reading, but Renea still has it.
yeah.
Fair enough.
I mostly agree. I think, like, I'm not sure. At this point, Renea feels really strong to me, but I definitely think there's some amount of Renea is by far the character best suited to how I play card games.
That is clearly
so
true.
I'm going to like naturally be better at Renea than any other character.
Hmm.
I mean, I don't like I love the fact that the season 2 tier list has come up time and again, and the names at the top, with the exception of Zolt, have kind of danced around quite a bit, and I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
I think that there was a point where people were like, Salinka's clearly a top tier,
Oh yeah, I remember that.
and I think the only consistent tier things have been like, people have said Turnaloose is a little low, and Sajin's always been near the top.
Sajin's always been high. Yeah. Cyrus was actually very consistently regarded as high tier. People kind of stopped talking about him, but I don't think he ever went down.
Agreed. I think he's like if we're doing letter grades, he's definitely A.
Yeah.
But he's
comfortably
not.
A tier.
Yeah.
He's not S because he does have those games.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like Renea is, I don't know, I think she's really unfair if she gets going, and fine when she doesn't, but fine is not great. Like, fine is fine.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's really strong because the way I see it is basically, how good is this character? I think her weakest thing is that she is shockingly, actually, I've been watching this, transform dependent.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah. Like,
incredibly so.
I think she's not quite that transform dependent. I think that she needs to have Strafe Fire and Exceed Mode.
I think she needs paranormal investigation.
I think that's a reasonable claim, but I think that's not the case as long as she exceeds.
Fair.
The other thing that just sort of strikes me about her is it's sort of like the way I'll view a character in sort of 3 lines is, if they're on top, how fast do they close games? If they're losing, what's their comeback chance? And if they're having a terrible draw, what does their game look like? And I can see a Renea game where her first 15 cards are like assaults and lethal force, and she can't find the sweeps to make her hand work. But she can still do bluffs and cute things with it. She'll just...
Yeah, that's, like, roughly, I think her high end is really good, and her is, like, serviceable, but not amazing.
And then her... I think she worries against... I mean, anyone with a range 1 dodge is good. Like, end of line.
Yeah, and she kind of has 2.
Yeah.
I don't know. There are a lot of times where I'm reluctant to play Flare as a defensive move. I'd rather play Flare as a guaranteed offensive move.
That's fair. It depends on your speed also. Like, sometimes it's kind of both. Like, Way of the Warrior Flare is pretty much both.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
It's going
mean,
to hit, and it's not going to get retaliated against.
Mm-hmm.
Renea's always like it's interesting. Did Renea get stronger with Street Fighter coming out?
That's an interesting question, and there's a good chance she did because they have a lot more power packed into
Yeah,
their base than
I
Season
like
2.
the. I feel like I generally want to be playing Renea in most Street Fighter matchups of my team.
But I showed him. I played Gabrick, who has terrible boosts.
I'd like to point out that the character that Gabrick beat, while one did exist, was not Renea.
I know. Monster strength is good. But yeah.
I was really actually when you landed Straight Fire, I was almost like, do I just reshuffle at like 10 cards just to keep some of these out of your hand? But I realized that the things I needed were still in there to the point where I couldn't afford to do that. I should have maybe changed cards.
Yeah, that's one thing I know D does a lot of in playing against my Renea, is try to make sure that I will never get like 3 cards I'm happy with.
Yeah, I manipulate the timing of my flip. Like what I need to start doing in tournaments, honestly, is bring Selinka on my team just to threaten you against playing Renea. Because Selinka's Exceed counters Renea's Exceed, and it's extremely rude.
So I think what happens is only that I can't play Renea if I lose game 1. I think I think I can still pick Renea otherwise.
Right, but it pressures you. It pressures you during initial select to not pick Renea, right?
That's fair.
At some point when I have half a brain, we should do a Renea Minato set.
I'd be interested in watching that.
That sounds interesting.
Or playing it. Mostly watching, though. I don't like playing against Renea. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy playing Exceed, but I think it's well known she's actually the character I least like playing against in the entire game.
And then my other characters include Eugenia. My team is my team.
Yes. But that's fine. I mentioned this, or Matt and I were shooting the breeze earlier, and I mentioned this. I was like, yeah, I'm really glad to have like Byron as the control player, because it's not a character, like you're not a player who exists in our meta other than you. There are just so few people who actually run.
Yeah, I guess it's kind
control.
of like maybe you'd rather in any given day play against Eaqus than Renea, but you'd rather have an Eaqus player and a Renea player instead of 2 Eaqus players.
Yes, I would rather that you exist than not. But
I'm glad for the like.
I affirm your existence.
Yeah, I'm glad for the great side of approval. You prefer that I exist to not.
Yes, I prefer that you exist. I magnanimously express that preference. Also, how much gauge does Marathi have? He has 8 gauge.
It's happening.
Oh, he's at range 4, but it doesn't matter. I'm sorry, I just noticed that. But yes, like
that's
in
range 5, isn't it?
Range. Oh, sorry, I was thinking of number of spaces he needs to move, which is 4, but that's range 5. Thank you. It's fine. He has 4 cards in his hand. You can move that no problem.
It's called.
He also has 8 gauge.
Yeah, but you can't spin that. I mean, come on.
Is there an Ultra in there? Because if there's an Ultra in there, he probably can spend that. There's no Ultra in there.
He spent God of War to close 2. Man, if he's holding EX God of War and he manages to play it, I'll be the hypest of all. But anywho, yeah, like I would rather not. I would rather play against Eaqus than play against Renea. But I'm happy that we have like a control player who actually plays Renea and Amina and Eugenia, and
hopefully soon Jeanette at a reasonable level.
And eventually Jeanette. But we actually already have Jeanette players, so I don't mind that. Like Mad plays Jeanette.
Okay.
There was a time where I really wish there were better uses of Spell Circle than the kind of janky mix-ups that currently exist.
I like the janky turn 1 mix-up. I'm not sure if you've seen me play Eugenia, but like when I go first with Eugenia, my turn 1 strike percent is like 80.
Yeah, because like you have Plot Hook, you have Wearlight, you have Absinthin, and you and nobody can beat them all.
I could technically play dive.
And dive also exists for some reason.
I'm not going to, but I could.
Totally could.
I mean,
If I drew a hand with none of the other three and I had a dive, I might play it.
Yep.
Just to keep that turn 1 strike % up.
I mean, like, it loses against anybody who's got a ranged sweep, unless you manage to make that dive bluff.
As I'd say, then the dive bluff covers.
Unless it has been range 3, which I believe exists.
Not on sweep likes usually. Oh, Black Death. Duh. The
Black
Death is speed 3.
Black Death sucks.
Black Death is so good.
Well, what I mean is Black Death in the opening, specifically versus the opening Eugenia mix-up. Black Death is not a card you want to threaten.
No, yeah, it's bad.
Plot Hook dunks on it, and then you don't have Black Death.
Yeah, it loses to Wearlight, it loses to Plot Hook, it loses to Dive. It only covers Absinthe and Arrow. Okay, it might not lose to Wearlight. But Wearlight can hit for 6, right? So it might lose to Wearlight.
Well, not on turn 1, right?
Doesn't Black Death have 5 defense?
Wait, can Wearlight hit for 6 on turn 1? I don't feel like that's right.
I thought it could. Okay, I thought Wearlight was printed for.
Maybe it is.
Let's find out.
Yeah, but it's also speed 3. Oh yeah. Anyway.
Let's go.
The point is, you get plot hooked and lose anyway.
Here, you know?
Yeah,
yes, that's more likely.
The point is, you get plot hooked and lose it, and you're like, why did I do this?
Yeah, but it also loses. Yeah, so it only has 5 defense, and so.
Yeah, you're right. It does lose to Wearlight. I'm sleepy.
Yeah, so it may lose to Wearlight, and then that's the saddest thing in the world because not only. So I think losing to Wearlight is of the same tier as losing to Dark Thoughts, which is to say.
I disagree. I'm pretty sure I've lost games after they lost to Wearlight.
Okay, maybe it's not that bad, but Byron and I have a running.
What's the tier down from lose to Black Death? It's whatever the next tier is.
Wait, not Black Death.
Sorry, down from lose to Dark Thoughts. Yeah, lose to Black Death is the worst thing. Then
Losing
one
Black
tier
Death
down
is
is lose.
Very, very bad.
And then the tier below that is lose to Dark Thoughts, where you can technically still win.
Right.
Whatever the tier below that is, that's the tier Wearlight is in.
I'm thinking, I guess it's like lose to, or I think it's like trade with Dragon's Flight or something.
It's probably lose to Spike.
Lose to Spike? Yeah, that's fair.
It's about as bad as getting your focus spiked or something.
Oh
That's
my gosh! In the
bad.
in the second game I played with Banana Zama, I had back-to-back face-up spikes land.
Oof. Oof.
How does face up Spike land if they have cards?
Wait, Marathi exceeded. I'm sad.
Is that allowed?
I'm so sad.
Is that allowed?
Basically, I saw their opening hand. They played their only movement, and then I was just like, "Well, fight me."
Oh man.
Well, fight me some more.
Oh, that's rough.
Wait, why didn't they change cards 5 after the first one? I guess.
It was. I think they moved to range 1. They moved to range 1, and then
And then you had Scorn.
Yeah, I dragons tongued them out, and then paid the force and did the other face-up spike.
I'm somewhat considering picking up Iaquis to have a character to play against people who hate all my other characters. At least in mid games.
I mean, if you like playing him, like a non-zero amount or a non-trivial amount at least, I
haven't tried him, but he's on my list. Maybe.
I really wish I had more matches where I exceeded with him.
His Exceed mode is really exciting, and I essentially never have it happen.
Oh, it's like better Umina Exceed. Wow.
It is super cool, and
it's super nutty, and I just never.
Yeah. My problem is that they're always dead by the time I get there. Like he does so much damage.
Well, maybe if you EX transform because you can't win the combat with the cards in your hand.
Except that doesn't happen with the cards in his hand.
He plays big EXs
It depends on how many Way of the Warriors your opponents play. If they've played 4 Way of the Warriors this game, maybe you have some problems.
Well, let's see.
Who
because
cares?
I have Swift Destruction.
Dragon's Heart and face up the other copy.
Exactly.
They come at me. Let's go.
Yeah, fair.
Oh, he's getting rid of his gauge. No.
The dream is dead.
No, I'm
Hurts
like,
me.
I'm mostly referring to Renee's nonsense, where like,
Yeah, she is plus.
hi, I have
2,
+4/+2 this combat. What are you gonna do?
Yep, and I'm just sitting there going like, I don't like, I don't. I'll just I'll take my 5 and I'll go home. Like I don't.
Except it's not 5. It's like 8
Nah,
usually.
I was playing Rimless. It's 5.
That's fair. Yes, that is what happened.
Yeah.
I was
The-
reminds me of a
the
D&D character I
one-
had where the ability I could, instead of rolling a D20, just say it was an 11. Like, what's it? It's an 11. Didn't you? Nope, it's an 11.
Yep.
What happened exactly?
In our game, it was the... I think it was...
I'm asking like which D&D thing this is.
Oh.
3-5 Book of Nine Swords. There was
yeah.
a
There's
martial
a
stance
take
that
an
let
11
you-
in there?
Yes.
Interesting.
It replace any D20 with an 11 while this stance is active.
Oh,
That's
cool.
pretty cool. I don't.
I
think I've
was
seen
free.
stats.
I was finally free from the die. It
Man.
was glorious.
I was gonna say, for you, that must be like the best thing.
Yeah, that's like probably +9 on average.
I had an 11 initiative every round, every combat. It was great,
Oh my goodness.
and I was playing a very aggressive melee character, so my DM was reasonable. So sort of like,
Oh, hang
can I
on.
hit that? I can hit that. I'm just gonna hit it. Hooray!
Oh, that's wonderful.
Have you? It's not quite as good for your particular use case, but are you familiar with the Pathfinder Diviner feature?
Not offhand.
There's what I think would be of interest to you. Let me find it. How do I link you things?
For reference, Marathi now is +2 speed, +5 power.
So he has.
Wait, hold on. No, +2 speed, +5 power. I'm sorry.
So he has 1 more power than this assault that Stow in Play apparently had.
I guess so. Actually, I guess he just has +5 power because Ryu also has +2 speed.
Oh.
That's much less
But does
silly.
Ryu have +2 power?
No. Ryu only has 2 life though, so the +5 power makes me very happy.
Well, I have to tag out because I need to sleep.
Okay, I'm gonna before you go, if I can, I'm gonna link you the divination thing. I think that you reminded me of.
Cool.
There you go.
Hey, thanks for fighting,
Anyways,
Mad. Did y'all already
thanks
submit
for
your
the
games?
Sorry about the. I did at least on the website. I don't know if there's anything else I have to do with them.
No, I mean,
That's the one.
I don't think either of my scoops were bad decisions. The first one might have been a little salt driven, but I also thought that, as we discussed, that was not a winnable matchup from that point. And the second one
it's the
was
question of do you want to play for like a 1% chance, and that's
no, I was just like, let's just keep moving. And no, and like I said, it's you learn more from losses than wins, so I appreciate the drubbing.
what you learned in this case is
Not to play Bison.
EX transform getting EX. Yeah, that's fair. You learned something. That's something you learned.
When your opponent EX transforms multiple good transforms, you're gonna have a bad time.
Mhm.
Check.
Yeah, I'm gonna link you the thing as well. I think you've technically seen me mention that, but
Yeah, Renee
Maybe
is
if I-
slowly evolving in my mind to be, like, from a laid-back control character that I can expect to be reactive to, like, I need to start thinking about how to deal with her threats ahead of time. Like, I'm thinking I'm going to be parrying Paranormal Investigation and, like, trying not to let Straight Fire land and things like that.
Like before, I always thought the strategy was like get rid of her sweeps and she's suddenly less scary.
Mhm.
But because her speeds are good, but not her fast things don't hit very hard.
Right. Exactly.
Like
but
even
they
double
hit
down
pretty hard if I have
paranormal,
transform.
right? But even double down paranoia,
Is, like,
to
4 to
paranormal.
6. Which, okay,
Yeah.
167 is a stat line.
Yeah. So is our
noted
stat.
good stat line 167.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I'm pretty sure I played multiple things with better stat lines than that tonight.
I mean, same. Like I'm playing Yakuza on the other side of the table. There's sometimes where I'm just like +4, +2 because this is where we're at now.
Yeah, that's fair. But on the other hand, like you have to play your attack face up, which totally comes up.
In one of the games, the second game where he was playing Selinka, like there was a point where again he was sort of it was near the end of the game and he was movement dead at range 2, and I was just like, well, I guess I face up Dragon's Tail for 9.
Yes. EX Dragon's Tail, then.
Yeah.
Yeah, part
But,
of why I'm thinking I might want to play Yakwas is just it's probably good practice in knowing what the opponent can do, so you know when you can play
Oh,
stuff
yeah.
face up.
He will make you better at the Exceed part of playing Exceed, in my opinion.
On the other hand, that means I have to play Exceed instead of playing.
Instead of
Whatever
playing
it is you're doing.
Yeah, I'm playing my opponent's cards generally.
But
Wait, does that mean that if my opponent is Yaquis, then if I play Renee, I'm playing Exceed?
Ow.
Mm,
Ow.
mm.
Brain. Oh man.
All right.
All right. Good to
Good
see you,
games,
man.
gentlemen.
Good games.
See you later.
See you.
Steve, are you gonna be streaming after the tournament? Do you know?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I'm gonna see this. I'm gonna see this match out. It looks like it just ended. In one way or another. It looks like Ryu just punched Marathi with the Shoryu. I am surprised that this happens. I felt like it was in Marathi's hands, but I looked away because we were talking. So
Yes.
so it goes.
I apologize for being distracting.
Nah, it's fine.
Huh. I note. Is this a misprint in the module, or I note that back Ryu can't crit as printed?
Misprint. All of the Street Fighter characters are missing the icon in Tabletop Simulator only. In real life,
Okay,
they
so
have
that's
the icon.
the module or the actual game. Okay.
It's the module.